I am here with Marissa, and we're going to chat a little bit to give you guys, whoever's watching, a little bit of inspiration and to hear a little bit about her story as she has built her online business. So thank you, Marissa.
Of
And
course.
yeah, if you want to start off with just kind of sharing a little bit about your story, what made you decide you wanted to create an online business?
Sure. So, like most people, I went to college, got my degree, did everything that my family supported, everything that my parents told me what to do. And I got my degree, and I really struggled finding a job for a while. And then I actually moved to California from New York with just my boyfriend. We didn't know anybody. We just wanted to, we had the travel bugs. We wanted to do it. And then within 3 months here, I actually found a job. Long story short, I became a police officer, and I was about a year in, not even a year, and I just was so sad. Like, I remember saying to myself, like, the day that I change who I am as a person is the day that I quit my job. And it was supposed to be my career, like that's a career. That's a 30-year career. And so the day it changed me was day number 1 out in the field, and I stuck it out for a little while. And then I couldn't do it anymore. So I up and quit one day. And then I found myself here. I started working online like 2 days later. And the rest is history. So that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, and how long have you been working online now?
8 months. This is my 8th month.
Cool. Yeah, it's crazy how so many of us, I feel like, especially our generation, we start off by thinking, oh, we have to do what everyone else is doing. We have to follow society standards. We have to do what our parents expect of us, our friends expect of us, like all these things. And we find out we're like really quickly that's not at all kind of what we
want. Yeah.
And there's like the people that either listen to that and actually take action to change it, and then there's other people that kind of just
stay in it,
miserable for their entire life, right?
Yeah. And they think it's normal too. It's not like anything outside of the norm. They just expect that that's the way life's supposed to be.
Yeah,
so.
they're like, yeah, I'm not supposed to like my job, and they just like feel like that's they're not really supposed to like their job and just deal with it.
But no.
Ever, like, who would just deal with 40-hour plus weeks of just being miserable doing what you're working at?
Yeah. I mean, because they don't know anything else, like it's just so normalized, and they just think like, all right, well, my parents did it, my grandparents did it, and they like had these lives that sustain them and whatever, and they got to go on one vacation a year, blah, 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 the whole thing. And so they're like, all right, I guess I'll be content living that way. But no.
Exactly. And that's why I love like kind of showing that there is another way to give those people, inspiration that
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously there are so many ups and downs with entrepreneurship. What is one challenge that you've faced, and how have you overcome it?
I think I'm going to do two that kind of tie into each other. So consistency and being your own boss. Like, I have always worked for someone. I've like always, since I was 15, had a job. And so I always worked for someone. I always worked my butt off, and I was always good at whatever I was supposed to be doing. Like, whether it was like making sandwiches at a deli when I was 14, or being a cop, or filing paperwork, or bartending, like I've done it all. And I always worked for someone else. So that hurdle of going from like worker to owner, business owner, was a little bit hard for me, because I had to focus on so much more. Like, mindset is a huge thing. And I had never practiced like personal development mindset. Like, I thought it was some hippy dippy stuff like I didn't know anything about. So going from like that, and knowing that the only way to be a successful online business owner was to be consistent, and like literally consistent every single day, have a routine. So getting into that mindset, and really that whole entire switch was the biggest challenge for me. But the day that I set all my ducks in a row, I had my planner, like I did everything, was really when things started to change. And so just like knowing that I need to stay consistent, and just, you're going to have ups and downs. It's business. That's just what happens.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like, a lot of people, when they're used to having a boss or someone to tell them what to do, and then when you transition to being your own boss, you really have to, put things kind of in place to motivate you to, that you have to do things for yourself. You can't just sit there and wait for someone to tell you what to do, because that's not going to happen, right?
Yeah. And then also if you're at home, like I'm home right now, I need to know that like I'm not off, I'm working,
Yep.
but it's just a different kind of work. So getting into that mindset of like, yes, you're home and yes, you have tasks that need to be done in home, but your business takes priority. So get your day done and then you can do the laundry and cook and all that.
Yeah, exactly. I've felt that struggle as well with having distractions at home and be like, oh, I'll go throw in a load of laundry in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So for me, like timers have really helped with that, but
Yeah.
for sure. So Marissa and I are both in the same online community. We have we use a marketing platform and a training platform, and we've even I went and visited in San Diego, and a bunch of us went down to Mexico, so we've gotten to meet in person. But anyways, Marissa, what is your favorite part of like the online community that we're part of? Just everything that we get access to and all that.
You guys, like the people that I have access to every single day, whether it's like, I guess we could call each other like colleagues or like whatever we call each other, like, but the friendships that I've built and the support. So like when I was new, Mary, you were online already. So you were somebody that I looked up to. So having that like, and like everyone in our community that started before me, that's successful, and you kind of want to mirror those people. So you kind of follow their path. And, I think for me, I mean, I don't want to say like community is like the best thing, but it really is, because it's something that I didn't realize I needed until I had it. And then everything switches, you go from like, yes, we're business owners. Yes, we work online separately, but we also work together. To support each other and all of that. So I think the community aspect and just finding like-minded people that don't think that your outrageous dreams are crazy and they're actually obtainable. Because if I talk to anyone else about all of the things that I want to do with my life and all the places that I want to go, all the places that I've been, everything, people are like, you're insane, but I'm not, because I have people like you who have the same dreams and are accomplishing them. And that's huge to see that. So I think just people like you is my favorite part.
Me too. Yeah, it's crazy. Like you said, for me too, I didn't realize how important community was until I had it. And I can't imagine not having it. It's to have people, because not a lot of times like we go through life and we have family and friends and whatever, and if we don't have entrepreneurs in our community, if we go on this entrepreneurial path, it can be so lonely if we don't have other people with that same mindset and the same kind of path to kind of ask questions to and connect with, and because it is totally a different mindset. And for sure.
Yeah, agreed.
So speaking of our community, what would you say, a lot of people ask this, is like, how actually do you make an income online? Like, what, in your own words, like how would you explain that?
In the simplest terms, we run ads on social media. And like what I mean by that is basically like we run ads, whether it's like lifestyle type marketing ads, and we basically are partnered with companies. And when we make a sale through a link or, through an ad, we make commission for it. So the company basically pays us commission for that. And we focus on high ticket products, which basically means just more expensive products. So we're making, a very large income from that. And we don't have to actually sell that many things. And we're not actually doing the selling portion of things. Kind of like the middleman is like how I like to explain it.
Yeah, it's awesome, because obviously if you're going to put the same amount of time into something, you'd rather make $1,000 off something rather than $10. So
yeah, that just makes sense. That's so true.
High ticket is the way to go for sure.
Yeah, it is.
Awesome. I'd love to know, like we talked about, you're a police officer and now you're work for yourself. What are some things that, like, now that you have your time freedom, and what are some things that you're looking forward to, dreams and stuff in the future?
So many. So for me personally, my biggest thing, there's a few big things. So one is getting my boyfriend out of his corporate job. So he loves what he does and he went to school for it and all of that jazz, but we have big goals for ourselves. We want to do a million things, and to have your typical 9 to 5, we can't do those million things. And I don't want to do them by myself. So I want him to join me too. So my biggest thing is getting him out of his job. And then paying off my student loan. So obviously I went to school. I have somewhere around $100,000 in student debt that I would literally be paying off for the rest of my life if it wasn't for this business. Because when you're in your typical 9 to 5, you know exactly how much you're going to make. Even if you get a raise, it's going to be like 3%, and you're never going to get out of the hole you're in. So that's goal number 2 for me, is to pay that off within the next couple of years while still being able to like live my life. And then my third and favorite one is travel. So when I was in college, my boyfriend and I actually studied abroad in Spain, and we lived in Spain for 6 months, and it was the best experience. I grew up so much. I'm just a completely different person once I did that. And it obviously gave me the travel bug. So we travel right now a lot within the country because that's what we have the time to do while my boyfriend's still in his job. So we do a ton of like in-country traveling, but to be able to leave the country pretty much on a regular basis, like every single month or every other month, is a huge goal that we've set for ourselves and we see happening within the next year or so. So that's really exciting.
So exciting. Yay. Yeah, it's just so cool to see everyone that we're, friends with online talk about all their, big, awesome goals, and they're not crazy. Like,
no.
like some people, yeah, when you say that those kinds of things out loud to someone who might not have that abundance mindset or who doesn't have an online business that they're able to generate, a nice income, right? They think you're crazy. But then when you talk to people who are kind of on the same wavelength as you, it's just like so exciting to like feel that energy kind of like.
Yeah. And you also think just like, okay, what's the step? What's the next step to get there? What's the next step to get there? Not like, all right, you're crazy, calm down. And it's really cool to have that like motivation and just those people around you that understand your goals.
Last question. If you had one piece of advice for someone who is thinking about starting their own online business, what would that be?
Follow your passions, because so many people, they go to school for something that they're passionate about, or they think that they're passionate about. We're also like 17 when we go to college, or 18, and you don't actually know what you're passionate about then. So like that's screw up number 1, but that's a story for another day. But just following what you're actually passionate about. So finding what it is you're passionate about, whether it's travel, whether it's making a lot of money, whether it's surfing or anything really, just find your passion and follow it and figure out a way to make it your life, make it your career. And I know that for both of us, it was being our own bosses and traveling, and how you can't just like do a normal 9 to 5 and live that life. You actually have to do something about it to make it happen. So just follow your passions and follow your heart, because it will lead you to great places.
Yes, absolutely. And it is never too late to start following your passions, because we all have our past but our present and our future is totally dependent on what the actions that we take today. So
absolutely, couldn't agree more.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Marissa, and I hope everyone who was watching was a little inspired, and if you have any questions, reach out. But yeah, thanks so much, and I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye guys.